The 2020 census of the Virgin Islands is being conducted. It's a count of the entire USVI population.
A census taker will visit your household to conduct an in-person interview. Participate by answering all questions asked.
Your answers are confidential and protected by law. The results affect how much we receive in federal funding for our schools, roads, hospitals, and much more. Complete the 2020 census and be counted.
I'm Jan. I'm an artist. St. Croix is my home, and I'm a registered voter. I registered to vote 54 years ago when the voting age was 21. I felt very excited. I became an adult. Now, the voting age is 18, and younger people have a stronger and more powerful voice. Well, Alexander Pope, a poet, said it was up to artists to see the beauty around us in the world. As an artist myself, I love the colors and vibrancy of these islands that we call home. We, as citizens, hold the power to strengthen the Virgin Islands. Voting is everyone's duty. After all, if you don't vote, you mustn't complain. Every vote counts. Your vote can make the difference. So register to vote, listen to the candidates, and then choose wisely.
This school year, all VI public school students will learn from home, at least until January. That means you should be properly groomed each morning. Put on your uniform shirt and a skirt or pants that reaches to your knees. Sit at your desk or a table with your back against the wall and turn on your computer and camera before class begins. Your teacher and your classmates can see you now. If you don't have a computer, you will still learn with your class. But every student will receive his or her very own Chromebook soon. Learning from home is still learning. Let's do it.
Together, we are making progress against COVID-19 and getting our active lives and economy going again. As businesses unlock their doors and restock their shelves, you remain safer at home. But if you must go out, use the government's guidelines to stay safe. Wear your face covering when entering a business. No face covering, no service. Use hand sanitizer before entering and when leaving a business. And stay at least 6 feet apart. Practice social distancing. Safer at Home USVI is step 3 in our path to a new normal. We're depending on you to do your part. For more information, visit www.vi.gov.
Oh, you mean you wash your hands? Hey, you violent, my boy. Well, every time that you get touched, you have to wash up your hands. Put on your mask, practice some distance, stop spread corona. Like, it's Adamo. And on behalf of the Virgin Islands Department of Health, hold it down on all the mass gatherings. Wearing a mask not only protects you, but it protects your loved ones and your community. Like, help stop the spread corona.
Good day, Virgin Islanders, at home and abroad. Before we begin our briefing today, this afternoon, I want to take some time to publicly extend condolences on behalf of the people of the Virgin Islands to all across this great nation who are mourning the loss of Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Justice Ginsburg was a fearless fighter for women's rights throughout her career, and her court and in the court, and she was a guiding light for civil rights and gender equality advocates worldwide. Despite her small stature, she was a towering figure in American jurisprudence. This weekend, I ordered the flags across the territory to fly at half-mast in honor of her life and her tremendous achievements towards this nation. I also want to take this opportunity to lift in prayer and extend well wishes to Bishop Herbert Brevard, who after 12 years at the helm of the Diocese of St. Thomas, has resigned due to health concern. He was appointed by Pope Benedict, and he led the diocese of close to 30,000 Catholics across the territory. We thank him for his service throughout these years and his service to the people of the Virgin Islands and the people of Catholic faith. I also want to say extended prayers to Avril Francis, the wife of Novell Francis, who is now on her step to recovery after a malady here last week or the week before. So our prayers and blessings go out to Avril, the Senate President Francis, and their entire family as they go through this time. But we know that we'll have Avril back 100% shipshape. This weekend ended our moratorium on leisure travel. Now we're seeing guests coming back to the island, travel bookings for hotels, guest houses, Airbnbs, and other related lodging. All of those businesses are now open. And I know this step is causing a lot of people in our community to be nervous and apprehensive, but it's a must and a necessary step in our business community, for our business community, but also a step forward as a territory in this fight against this pandemic. I want to assure you, though, that all the things that we're doing are doing to keep you safe. And as we take this step forward with the utmost care and caution, we have taken our time since the last reopening to put in place added protocols to help protect our community. We are now requiring all travelers to the territory, including local Virgin Islanders and returning Virgin Islanders who are coming home, to provide a proof of negative COVID test taken within 5 days prior to travel to the territory. Especially for us local Virgin Islanders who've traveled over abroad and you're coming back, please do your best to get a COVID test before you come back, because you just expose your friends and your family to the disease. Unlike a tourist, you're going home to a house. They're going to a hotel where they'll be isolated. When you reach home, auntie, granny, cousin, everybody exposed. So please, get yourself tested before you come back. And if you have to quarantine, don't quarantine in a house with other individuals who may be prone to get this deadly pandemic disease. I want to be clear, again, this is all travelers to the territory. It doesn't matter where you're coming from, as long as you're outside these 3 islands, include Water Island if you will, you got to get a COVID test. Since June, we have created a portal where all the negative tests can be uploaded prior to tourists traveling into the territory, as well as locals. We have also stepped up screening protocols at the airport terminals. These added screening protocols include testing, not just temperature, but testing at the airports, which is currently in its pilot phase. This past weekend, we tested 34 incoming passengers randomly, 6 at the Cyril Lee King Airport and 29 at the Henry E. Rosen Airport. And as a result, we have identified and isolated a COVID-positive traveler who was a local Virgin Islander returning to the island of St. Croix. So once again, let's just make sure that our people who are at home are safe when we take our trips off island, and we'll make sure that we're getting that testing done. As we move forward into the holiday season, we will continue to monitor this closely, and the efficacy of these protocols will be constantly updated. I want to talk about some of the protocols that we're going to have within the next couple of weeks at the airport. We're going to have the ability to test every single passenger that's coming off there. So if you didn't get your COVID test before, you're going to have to pay for it at the airport. Yes, you're going to have to pay for it at the airport when you're coming in, to make sure that we keep people safe. All tourists will be required to either produce that negative test or the positive PCR, or they're going to have to pay for that test at the airport, because we do not want to shut down again. I want to encourage each and one of you to wear your mask. Just to put it out there, we are currently contemplating universal masks, which means that the minute you leave your house, your mask needs to be on. We haven't instituted it yet. We're looking at the protocols around it, but let's start now. If you have to leave your house, put your mask on your face. Keep it there until you return to your house. We don't have Commissioner Encarnacion with us today. She's in the Senate. So we have the gracious appearance of her Deputy Commissioner, Mr. Reuben Molloy, who will give you an update on what's going on in the COVID world for today in the Virgin Islands. Mr. Molloy.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Governor. On behalf of the Honorable Commissioner Justa E. Encarnacion, good afternoon. As of September 19, 2020, the Department of Health has reported that we have tested a total of 19,314 individuals. 1,262 have tested positive. 18,043 have tested negative, and 2 are pending. There are currently 64 active cases in the territory. 1,186 cases have recovered, and there have been 19 fatalities related to COVID-19. On the hospital front, the Juan F. Louis Hospital and Medical Center reports 0 COVID positive persons. The Schneider Regional Medical Center reports 5 COVID persons admitted. All 5 are stable. Based on recent epidemiology reports, we have continued to increase testing, and we were seeing a significant decrease in positive cases until the past few days, when we saw positive cases in the double digits. We saw a record high of 8 positives on St. John as a result of a targeted testing approach for an at-risk group. Close contact is currently still the highest mode of transmission that we are seeing, but community transmission is still increasing. While we are open for leisure travel, we are still in the safer at home phase. You will continue to hear the best practice guidance from week to week. That it is only because even though many of you are adhering to the wearing of the mask, some of you just aren't, and unfortunately continue to put yourselves and loved ones at risk for illness and, yes, death. So, to ensure that transmission remains low, we need to continue being cautious. There are still restrictions in place to keep everyone safe. Remember, this too shall pass. Party virtually. Parties and other mass gatherings put you and others at risk because people tend to be relaxed when drinking, celebrating, or having a good time, and may not practice social distancing or proper mask wearing. Our numbers show that we are not out of the clear yet. Please do the right thing and wear your masks. Go out only when necessary. During the safer at home phase, some restrictions have relaxed, but others remain in place. Restaurants now offer dine-in service, but with proper safety precautions. There shall be no ordering drinks or drinking at the bar. Patrons must always wear a mask when entering the establishment, when ordering food and drinks, and when using the bathroom, for example. The only time your mask should be removed is when you are eating or drinking. Some restaurants are exempt from glass and silverware restrictions. To request exemption, please email inspection.deh@doh.vi.gov. That is again, inspection.deh@doh.vi.gov. Once you've received exemption and the exemption sign is posted, you are then allowed to use glass and silverware. A list of exempt restaurants can be found at doh.vi.gov. While leisure travel is now open, it is critical that basic precautionary measures are taken by residents and visitors alike. Frequent hand washing, good respiratory hygiene, social distancing, and proper use of masks can keep us all safe. As of September 19th, 2020, all travelers to the U.S. Virgin Islands age 15 and older must take a COVID-19 antigen, molecular PCR rapid test, or an antibody test within 5 days prior to travel. Travelers must produce either a negative COVID-19 molecular PCR rapid test from a test taken within 5 days prior to travel, or COVID or a positive 19 antibody test results taken within 4 months prior to travel to the USVI. Every traveler must use the travel portal at usvitravelportal.com before travel. It is critical that testing is conducted before arriving to the Virgin Islands, as the safety of residents and visitors to the territory is our highest priority. There is a 5-day window to take a test prior to travel. The availability of tests varies from location to location, so prospective travelers who are required to present test results are encouraged to plan their testing to meet the required 5-day window prior to traveling to the USVI. Travel results from a test taken outside of the 5-day window do not meet the requirements. If for some reason travelers are unable to produce the required test result, they will be subject to quarantine for 14 days or until they are able to receive the requested test results while in the territory. Travelers are not encouraged to take a test upon arrival to the territory unless it is a dire situation. We have started COVID-19 testing project at both the Cyril E. King Airport and the Howard E. Rollins airports. This project allows for surveillance and data collection at the airports and will continue until we have chosen a company to complete full-scale testing. Over the weekend, we tested 37 individuals. In the past week, we continued to engage with our community through various outreach activities. On St. Croix, we set up a table with health information, masks, and hand sanitizers at Plaza Extra West, Seaside Market and Deli, Kmart West, and in Sunny Isle, Pueblo Lorraine, Chicken Shack, and Caribbean Cinemas. We also distribute masks and flyers to individuals in Frederiksted at the beaches, restaurants, stores, and health clinic. Masks and flyers were also distributed to the residents of Bethlehem Village, Prophet Hills, Fritz Lawette's Complex, Ruby M. Rouse Apartments, and Ruby M. Rouse Apartments. On St. Thomas, our executive staff connected with the residents at the Paul M. Pearson Gardens. You will be seeing more robust community engagement in the St. Thomas St. Croix district this week. So look out for our team in your neighborhood or at your favorite grocery store. Our goal is to educate the public, provide them with the tools they need to protect themselves and ultimately slow the spread of COVID-19 in the territory. In the past week, we safely distributed over 14,422 masks and 5,623 educational flyers to the community. One thing, when we teach you, we ask that you teach 2 more people. We have partnered with Island Therapy Solutions, and they have joined our outreach efforts by providing information on crisis counseling to residents. By now, you may have heard of our catchy COVID-19 jingles and health messages played by a loudspeaker throughout the territory. It's critical that if you know you've been exposed to the virus or suspect you've been exposed, you must quarantine and stay at home and away from others while waiting your results. The Commissioner and Commission have mentioned this before. You must be responsible as an individual. We all need to do our part to continue our community, to keep our community healthy. If you are experiencing a fever, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or have any symptoms at all, please call the Department of Health Epidemiology Division at 340-712-6299 or 340-776-1519. If you feel sick, stay home. If you get tested, please remember you are required to stay at home and quarantine until you receive a result or are cleared to be discharged from quarantine. The Department of Health continues to regularly update the number of persons under investigation and report any confirmed cases. These official reports can be found on the USVI Department of Health Facebook page or on our website, www.covid19usvi.com. For COVID-19 health information alerts, text COVID-19 USVI to 888-777. One last thing, mask up, VI.
Thank you, Deputy Commissioner Molloy. Moving right along, I think the Department of Health is doing a yeoman's job of getting education out there, whether it's by commercials on Pandora or else putting boots on the ground. Even the commissioner I saw out in Paul and Pearson Garden giving out masks and making her rounds, making sure that people keep safe. Unemployment, we continue to run 5 different programs here in the Virgin Islands. The regular unemployment, we've issued now 38,894 insurance checks. That's totaling $29,782,279. And those are people who are just impacted by unemployment. Vital losing their job because of COVID. Vital has also issued an additional 29,260 checks in federal pandemic unemployment compensation. That's 2 programs, totaling $41,588,760 million, and continue to make progress on that pandemic employment assistance to all the individuals. Vitals also issued $3 million in pandemic unemployment assurances as well, and $1.2 million in PEUC. So there's several different programs here, and we want to keep people abreast of this. Remember, respond to labor, VI Department of Labor, as quickly as possible. If you have a denial letter, remember there's 5 programs, so fill out that information they're asking you to, send it back so we can get that check out to you. So far, we've issued a total of 68,372 payments, totaling some $76 million to Virgin Islanders. That's up $4.2 million since last week's alone. Before I go, I want to give you a couple of announcements. We just have started school last week, virtually albeit, but school has started, and for our private school as well as our public school students across the territory, welcome back to school. I want to thank the community, the parents, the students, the teachers, for their patience and understanding. And I also want to thank the faculty and staff at the VI Department of Education for continuing to do their best to make this difficult situation easier. Everybody knows, and I never try to perpetuate it as anything else, this virtual learning thing is far from adequate in terms of what we need for our students, but it's what we have now and what we have to do deal with in order to get our students educated. There is no other alternative. And I want to make sure that you understand that virtual learning is not an exact science. None of us in the entire globe have really been here before, trying to get a kindergartner or a fifth grader to pay attention virtually through the day. But if there's one thing that I'm sure of, is that we together can figure it out and get through this. As a result of the many delays caused by this pandemic, my office has extended the Governor's Summer Reading Challenge to give students an extra opportunity until October 16th in order to comply with the challenge. So if you're out there and you're listening, your mom or dad is listening, take time, read 5. Just visit read5.org and you can get more information on this and get ahead of these books, because we really want to encourage students to read as much as possible. I'm an avid reader from a very young age, and we want to continuously inbreed and instill that concept into our young people. We're still in hurricane season, thank God for all your prayers. I know you churches out there, every Sunday you have your hurricane supplication prayers and you're praying individually. All of the storms so far have been turning north. This is a great thing. We'll knock on wood. I call this period the bullseye, and we seem to be coming out of the bullseye of the storm season virtually okay. We don't expect any disturbances within the next 5 days coming to the territory, and hopefully that will persist. But I really want to thank our public works team and Vitima, everybody that assisted in getting our sandbagging out. And now we're on another initiative where we're using the Vitima team to distribute blue roof sheeting to more than 300 individuals already. Those people still have compromised roofs, and they've been out there trying to get those people situated with tarping this past week. It is very, very needed in our community still, and we just want to thank all of those people, public servants who continuously, and private sector servants who continuously come to the rescue of our community and the assistance of our community during these difficult times. Lastly, we made a significant progress last week in the finalizing of a very, very important financial transaction with major implications for the immediate future of the Virgin Islands. Now, there have been a lot of impassioned arguments made about this transaction. Some of those arguments are in support and some are in opposition. But debating is essential. It's a part of the democratic process. That's what we do in democracy. We point out the good and the bad, how you can make it better. But I think in doing so, we always should afford one another the respect that we are all working for the good of the people, and that one side is not against the other side, but we're one team trying to make sure that we put forth the best financial footing and policy making for the benefit of the people of the territory. This weekend, we had very productive discussions with some of the senators and all of the challenges and the success of this closing on this financial arrangement. And we continue to work with the entire legislature on the securitization and ensuring that we have a way forward for our retirees. We can always bicker about which way is best and what way we should go, but the one thing that it will always ring true, you have to make a decision. And you have to make a decision amongst the things that you can do, not what you wish you could do or you hope you could do, what you can do. And I think we have a dedicated team of people in the legislature that are committed to making a path forward. It's not always going to be the easy decisions that we have to make, but we know that those senators who continue to work with us, whether by opposing and creating places where we can make it better, or by supporting and helping us get this through the finish line, we are willing to work with those senators every single time to move the dial forward on these issues that promise to improve the quality of life for all Virgin Islanders, that promises to set a path forward that we can be on, where it is about progress and transparency. From the very beginning, we've always told you, we try to keep the doors open to trust, because the paths that we have to go down in this Virgin Islands, in this new course to prosperity, will often get dark. And you have to trust that the leaders you've elected in the legislature and me, Tregenza, and our team are doing the best for this Virgin Islands. Thank you all for tuning into this. I guess we'll be taking some questions from the press. We don't have any today. That's even better. And unfortunately, our Spanish interpreter is on vacation, a much-needed rest. I don't know how much of a vacation it is because she's calling me every 5 minutes about some other issue. But she's not going to be available with us today, so we'll be able to close out as usual. Love you. God bless you. Have a great week. Oh, we have a question. Said it, talk too quick. Go ahead.
Good afternoon.
We can hear you. Go ahead.
Hello?
Yes.
Okay, hi, Governor. This is Emmett Molloy TV, Emmett Travels.
Hey, Emmett. How you doing?
I'm happy I finally get in, but good to see you. Good afternoon to everyone who's there. I have a few questions. And it's coming from, and thank you, publicly, thank you for all you and the entire staff, everyone in the government is doing to keeping us functioning. Mm-hmm. They say the details is in the pudding, or, the success or failure is in details. So we are opening back up and we brought back leisure guests. And we have required everybody to submit tests. Everyone that comes in, they have to submit tests. It kind of seems like the second time we're hearing this. So the question is, what are the details for the collection to ensure that it's received this time, that people will submit it? And then the next part of it is you say you could submit it online. So now when a plane lands, how will you know those who have submitted and have not submitted?
Well, okay.
You've also indicated, sorry, go ahead.
So the process is supposed to work by where when the plane lands, we'll know what flight you're on and your name will be recorded and those people will have the information at the airport. By the time this is done, we should be able to have it down to a smooth science where it's actually notifying you at the time of the plane who's on the plane, and then we'll separate those people who are pre-cleared and those people who actually have to clear. People are getting better at this coming in because they're coming from places which are requiring testing as well. So we figure we'll get it mastered by the time we have everything in place, because remember, we have to add actual testing itself at the airport. We piloted that this weekend, but we're going to start to have it where we can test 300-400 people within an hour.
So right now, with us being back open on Saturday, what are they doing? They're submitting the test and then someone is collecting it and reading it there to see if they're positive or negative?
Yes, the National Guard and the health personnel at the airport do look at your test results to see if you're positive or negative. But remember, this is America, so even if you come in and you do display signs, you're tested positive with COVID, all we can do is require you to quarantine yourself for 14 days until the virus passes.
Okay. Then you indicated you're going to soon have tests available at the airports. Mm-hmm. How much are those tests going to be? And then what are the test costs for locals? And for locals who don't have it, what is their process to get a test if they can't afford it?
We're working around those details right now in terms of but definitely we will be subsidizing the local cost. Test, if you have a VI driver's license, there will be a way for you to get that test. It would be at a reduced cost, as the government will pay some of that. But if you're a tourist, you're going to be responsible for making sure that you get that test.
You don't have an idea what the cost is right now?
It's going to be less than $50.
Okay. All right, last question. We got calls here at Molloy TV from, and you mentioned it in several of your press conferences, that there are business sectors which have not reopened as of yet. One of those sectors have been the nightclubs. And they have been calling us and they've been indicating, some have even tried to contact your office because they are still required to pay rent to their landlords. And one of them which are not actually qualified for any subsidy, any SBA assistance. So what's the answer for those business sectors who can't get assistance, who are locked down, and not even sort of having a conversation to say, they say they are willing to provide, ways how they could work their business out to entertain people right now, so just so they could pay their bills.
So for bars and nightclubs, we are looking at a protocol to see how we can open those. Right now, the last call for alcohol in the territory is 11 o'clock every evening, and 12 o'clock is the curfew for all those businesses, restaurants to be open. We are looking at protocols to see how we can get bars open without having actual bar service, so that you would be able to have table service, but there would be no congregating around the bar. Opening up this time, I can definitely say that that's not something we're going to implement immediately. I guess we're going to have a conversation with the nightclub owners about how we could help. But realistically, I don't see anybody being in any nightclub in the Virgin Islands until at least February, best case scenario. It just that environment is not conducive to the stopping the spread. That would be actually a super spreader environment. You have an air-conditioned environment, people jam closely together, a lot of alcohol involved. We just can't afford that right now. I don't think that's a Virgin Islands specific problem. It's a global problem. We don't have all the answers, but we're trying to get them. But direct bar service and nightclubs, February, March, best case scenario.
But you are willing for you and your team to examine ways how you can help those businesses out?
Yeah, we can look at that as well, how we can help subsidize them throughout this period. But the world has changed, and I really think people need to start to look at alternatives for what we know as the world as we know it and how it used to be. I don't think we'll ever be the same again. This will not be our last pandemic. Trust you that. So expect a lot of changes that we've done to become permanent over time. That's just a brave new reality that we live with. And then let's all pray that we don't see another new pandemic this year again.
Okay, final question, and I want to say thank you for giving me the contact number for Earl. He always will send out the stuff so we could cut up your press conference and get it out to the public. So you got a great team there working with you. Final question is, a business owner today told me, but he was afraid to go on camera. He said there's an excellent task force that comes out to make sure you shut down and you're staying in compliance. But now when you apply to SBA, it's like you're left on your own. Can there be assistance or people who could then be like a liaison to make sure that process is going through? Because you're applying for help and all the time, not only is it going through, but you just left in a federal queue.
Yes, so I was under the impression that EDA, I know, that was doing some webinars and stuff and instruction, and SBDA as well too, doing some instructions. And as a matter of fact, there are a number of private CPAs and accounting firms that are performing this service for people. We can put something together. We're expecting to have another tranche of the PPP. Maybe we put together a team or just pay an accounting firm to help those businesses that are having a little difficulty with that. I'll get with Wayne Biggs of the EDA and make sure that happens. I just want to say a special thank you, Emmett, to the cutouts that you're making of these press conferences to get them to bite size. I know people don't like to sit and watch for a half an hour, but those bite size snippets are really helpful. So thank you, Alawi TV.
Our pleasure, Governor. Thank you. And again, thank you to all your team. And a lot of people in the background with a see your face, but from OMB, Department of Finance, people who are on the front line, seeing them who processing the check them, who working real hard. So while we give you your cost, because I deserve the cost sometimes, we got to give you all the praise. And big eye up too.
Thank you, Emmett. That's a big up for everybody in the government working behind the scenes like Emmett P. That's a good way to end our day. So much blessings and love to you. Have a fantastic week, and I'll see you next Monday. God bless.